America, a country with a spectacular glimpse and a land known for pulsating opportunities. It continues to be one of the most preferred locations for students aspiring to study abroad. Today in our show, Sadda Pardes, we will discuss the options in one of the institutions of the USA, that is Baldwin Wallace University. We have with us President Emeritus of the Baldwin Wallace University, Professor Richard Durst, who will try to help our viewers decide and more so pursue their dream of studying in the USA. And we also have with us Randeep Johar, Vice President of Guru Nanak Khalsa College, Yamunanagar, and GMN College, Ambala. We welcome you both to our studios.
Thanks, Jocelyn. Nice to be here.
Professor Durst, it is indeed our honor to have you in our studios to begin with. What brings you to our region?
A celebration of the collaboration that we have with the three colleges, and an opportunity for us to meet students at the college that may be coming to Baldwin Wallace University, and an opportunity also to talk with students that are finishing their high school years here and convince them of the opportunity to come to Baldwin Wallace University.
Right, that's amazing. Is it for the first time that you are collaborating with a college, with a couple of colleges here in India?
This collaboration started, the first students came to us 1 year ago, so they're entering their second year at the university now. So, but this is the first collaboration like this that we have in anywhere in India.
Right, that's interesting. Now, we would like to congratulate you, as Baldwin Wallace University again earned top rankings in the US News and World Report's annual survey of America's best colleges.
Yep.
Now, this is the 19th consecutive year BW is listed among the top regional colleges and universities in the Midwest. Tell us about your mission and the unique qualities of BW.
That's a long question. Our unique mission, we are a liberal arts institution, so our students select from 60 different courses of study in undergraduate school. We also have 9 different Master of Business Administration degrees that they can select from if they're in graduate school as well. We believe that the unique part of our mission is this interpersonal relationship that we have with the students that come to us. We have, in the case of India, we have an Office of International Student Services that meet these students at the airport when they fly to America, bring them to the university, and they become their mentors during their entire time that they stay with us. So we believe so strongly that this is an important part of our mission, to welcome people to our university. So in addition to the wonderful rankings that we have in this country, we're a small enough university that we treat every student with respect and cordiality, and I think they get this incredible training because of that kind of relationship that they have with the faculty and with their fellow students.
That's interesting. What's the strength of your university in terms of students and also in terms of your faculty? If I may ask, especially the strength of the foreign students which study in your university.
Sure. Of course, I'm pleased that my faculty won't see this broadcast, because if you ask me what's the best, then some won't be the best. But we have many strengths. The relationship that we have here in India is primarily through our business programs. We believe that the strength of the business programs are the faculty that come to us after long careers actually working in business. So they're not teaching just the theory of business, but actually teaching from a real world perspective, because they've lived that as well. We also have marvelous programs in the sciences, also in information technology. We have great programs in the humanities. We have students that study psychology and sociology and history and English literature. But probably business, the sciences, and information technology are probably the strength, in addition to some wonderful performing arts programs. We have students that are performing on Broadway that have gone through our training program. So it really is a wonderful range of opportunities for students.
All right. How many campuses you have there?
We have 2 campuses, both in Cleveland, Ohio, that's about halfway between New York and Chicago, right on one of the 7 Great Lakes in America, Lake Erie. So it's a beautiful residential campus.
Right.
About 2/3 of our students actually live on the campus in lovely residence halls. So
that's amazing. Yeah. So is the purpose of the visit primarily to invite the students for the undergraduate study at BW, or is it for the other courses as well?
Well, it's actually both. I mean, one of the reasons that we are in Chandigarh is because of this relationship that we have developed with the three colleges, and those students at this point are all graduate students, have finished their undergraduate years in India. So we need to continue to develop and nurture that relationship. But we're also meeting with high schools as well, because we'd love to have undergraduates come to us. We've had a long history with India. We have 3 decades of students from India studying with us.
Right. Mr. Jauhar, let me bring you into the discussion. Can you tell us about the MOU which you have signed with the BW?
Okay. This MOU is basically a win-win situation for both the universities. Our objective was that we could send students from our colleges into the US to study. And for BW, they wanted to have a complete global education, so they could get, people from different countries, cultures, religions, and they achieved that. And we knew that to send students from a small town like Yamunanagar and Ambala, I mean, you had to be competitive, and we couldn't, I'm sure the students couldn't afford the kind of tuition fees which BW had.
Right.
So they talked to us and understood that in India we need to reduce the fees.
Right.
And so they gave scholarship, they reduced about 30 to 40%. And in addition to that, they also let us do some foundation courses in India, so the time span of the MBA reduced. So it's worked really well, and the students who've gone, another concern was that people from Ambala and Yamunanagar entering Cleveland, they'll be in a cultural shock.
Absolutely.
And it's just worked so well. I mean, I went and met the students last year, and they've just blossomed, and it's
any kind of difficulties they had faced there in the first year when they reached Cleveland?
Actually we were so worried, and in fact, so we went and talked to a lot of Indian community in Cleveland, and asked them, listen, our kids are going to come, can you mentor them, can you look after them, and if they're homesick or whatever. But it's amazing that these guys have not needed to go to the Indians, because BW, what Professor Durst said, they actually have people mentoring these students, and any issues, any problems, they go to them, and everything is resolved very, very amicably.
Right. Tell us, Professor Durst, when Indian students reach your university, what are the first few main challenges they face when they, as Mr. Jauhar said, that there is altogether a cultural shock for them. So what are the main challenges they face there?
Well, I think that these 4 students that came to us had never been outside of India. So going that far away from home, friends, family, to a completely different culture. I mean, they spoke the language. That's wonderful that they spoke English. But the culturalization is so different. The food is different. And that's why this International Student Services is so important, because they have a person that they can call on the telephone and say, I need to get some food from a grocery store, and I don't know how to do this. Will you come and help me? And so I think it is the simplest. Where do you get your hair cut? It's all of those things that
so there's a helpline which is in place for those students. And do you have counselors for those students as well?
Oh yes, they all have. Each one is assigned an academic advisor that will help them with their course of study. And then advisors also within the overall course in the business administration school. So we really are very good about making sure that our goal is to make them successful, and so we do everything that we can to help them in that, and make sure that every turn, at every challenge, however simple or complex, that we've given them the opportunity to talk with someone that will help them through that.
Right. Professor Durst, you must have met the students as well?
I have.
Right.
They've been at my house for dinner, actually.
Okay, so that's interesting. So what were their main questions to you, and their doubts, which you must have cleared?
I honestly don't think that they had any doubts at that point. I think by that point they felt very comfortable with the decision that they had made. There certainly was some homesickness. I know one came back at the Christmas holidays, came back to India, but the other 3 weren't able to afford that. And it was wonderful, as Randeep has said, the business leaders in the community that are Indians came to these students, invited them into their home for meals to really make them still part of the culture. So I think it helped a lot with that homesickness. So they didn't say anything to me about, I see them very often, and they haven't said anything to me about difficulties. I really think that they have had a wonderful first year, and I haven't seen them because I've been away for the last month, but I think they've made the transition into the second year incredibly well.
Oh, wonderful. I believe that the collaboration with GMN College Balakand is for a number of disciplines. If I'm correct.
It is.
Right. Which are these disciplines?
Well, I don't think that we've actually limited that to anything. I think any student that wants to come to us could come and study with us. It happens that these first 4 students are all in business administration, but it could be we're
fields
prepared
as well.
Yeah, we're prepared to bring a student. It's interesting in the last few days in Delhi talking with students, the number of students that are becoming interested in what we call the liberal arts that are different than business or information technology. But we're prepared to welcome any student that comes because they can pick from 60 different courses of study, and many of them select more than one. They often have courses of study that might be comprehensive to one another, and others that are completely different that might be interesting to them just because it's what's in their heart.
Right. Now this question, I'm very intrigued. I want to know, so there is a difference between the technique of teaching here to the Indian students by the Indian teachers and there by the US teachers. How easy or difficult it is for the Indian students to adjust with those teaching techniques?
You know, that's interesting because I don't know the style of teaching in India, so it's difficult for me to answer that question. I'll give you an answer about what we do because I have heard our Vice President for Academic Affairs say this. At Baldwin Wallace University, we don't teach you, we help you learn. So it's a very collaborative environment. We tell the students, you have an active role in your own education. We require, for example, every student before they graduate must have what we call an experiential learning component to their studies. That can be an internship, working with a major corporation in the
It's more like practical training than theoretical.
Yeah.
But it's a little different in India. I'm sure Mr. Chauhar will agree with me.
Yeah, it's completely different. In fact, I've studied in India and in the US, and I could add a lot of points how education in the US is different than India. In India, we study books, and at the end of the year we give exam, full stop.
Absolutely.
While in the US, there's class participation, there are tests They
have projects which they work on.
Correct.
Right.
So it's what I would call a complete education. Your confidence comes up, you're doing public speaking, there's so much happening, and like Professor Durst said, the advantage of the US education is you can choose any out of those 60 or 70 different, you can pick and choose any subjects you are interested in. It's not that you take BCom.
Yes, it's not compulsory for you.
Yeah.
Right.
You're forced to take, I don't like math, I can drop it and do something else.
Absolutely, right.
So, yeah.
I'll just come back to you. It's time to slip into a short break here. Stay tuned as we explore options in BW University, Ohio, USA.